Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you're calling from. This is today's Entrepreneur. I am your host, Andrea James. Let me just first say thank you to Father God for getting me to this point. He woke me up early this morning. I don't argue with him what time he wakes me up. I'm thankful that he wakes me up. And in waking me up early, I can spend more time with him. And I just want to say, Mommy, Daddy, ancestors, I got an internet radio show. And I just want to say, live your dreams and never give up. Today is a wonderful day. Each and every day we should try and do our best in whatever we do, whether we're entrepreneurs or whether we're working for somebody else, whether we're a stay-at-home parent, a single parent, entrepreneur, whatever it is, live your dreams. And also, when the opportunity comes up, open up your mouth. A closed mouth doesn't get fed, and I realized that. And each and every time that I show up, as recently as yesterday, I was at an event with H2BLD, which they have a fabulous organization where healthy cooking and some activities going on. I went to an event yesterday, and it was a farmer's market in Los Angeles. And I also did some networking there, and even there was somebody there that saw me. And she said, "Hey, Andrea James." Turned around and said, "Oh, my gosh, it's just wonderful, wonderful." And the person that I have as a guest on my show today, Mario, I don't want to mess up his last name, so I just say Mario A. But I networked with him through a gentleman that was my first guest, which was Brian Franklin. And he introduced me to Mario some years ago, and I was able to have my first DSL. Remember DSL? I can't even remember what that is. But when Mario is introduced this morning, he will definitely be able to share his backstory with us. And it is a roller coaster ride that Mario has been up and down in the computer world. And he stepped out in faith. But before he did that, he would work with corporate America. And he's a plethora of information. And I am so excited to have him on the show. He's phenomenal with what he's doing, and he's taken his talent to the highest level. And as people are part of his customer base, he will give you the best service that he can. And he's a very nice guy, but when he sits down to do his work, he is his king. He's in his own world, he's in his own kingdom, and he's here to serve the people of Southern California, and if not, maybe even around the world. And he's I can't say enough about Mario. He saved me. He was the first internet connection that I had many years ago. I think it might have been at least 10 years ago. It's right around there. But he's had to switch reels a couple of times. And he's just off the chain. Scotty, do we have our guest on the line?
Yes, ma'am, Ms. James.
Oh, yeah, I'm here.
Good morning.
How are you today? Good morning,
Mario. How are you today? Thank you so much for chiming in and being my special guest today. I tell you, I'm speechless.
No.
I cannot tell you enough. And when you agreed to do the show, I was just jumping for joy. I don't know if you heard me. As my cousin used to say, if I was doing any better, you'd hear me holler. So I'm so thankful for you today, Mario. And we're talking about, is SEO working for you? And the first thing I'd like you to do, Mario, before you get into your backstory, can you just explain what SEO is for those who may not know?
Yes. SEO is the acronym or just initials for search engine optimization. And basically, that just means that the search engine is going to look at your site. It's going to spider your site. They call it spider. Since the search engine checks everybody's website that it knows about. And then it collects information and uses that information in its search engine. So when someone types something in like the little Google window or whatever search engine you use, it pulls up a list of sites in some order based on its criteria, and then your site will come up. And it's a very important thing for websites because most people want to get exposure on the internet, and they have a very nice looking website, but people have to find the site and people have to look at the site. So that's why search engine optimization is so important, that you not only have a site, but you have a site that somebody actually goes and visits, and you get a lot of traffic, a lot of people coming to watch it. So that's basically search engine optimization in a nutshell. I can go into more details later.
One of the things that I was talking to somebody about just yesterday, and they said, well, search engine optimization, or SEO for short, where should the person or the web's link be? Should it be in the top 3? Because if somebody's looking for you, they don't want to go down the 10 websites. They want to see somebody as first, second, or maybe even third. So in SEO, where should they really be placed out after being number 1? Is number 2, number 3, and how far down in case they can't be 1 or 2 before somebody?
Well, obviously, obviously, if you're on page 100, probably no one's going to come and no one's going to. If they put in a phrase, keyword phrase or keyword, and you're page 100, I doubt anybody's going to have enough patience to go that far down to find your site. So, what's the best? Well, there's a lot. Sometimes the keyword phrases that you use have a lot of competition. For example, in real estate and other keyword phrases, there's just a tremendous amount of competition. And in that case, SEO becomes a real chore for you to get up in the first page or second page. It's especially if you have a national or international business. And over time, one of the criteria search engine uses is how long your site's been in existence. So if your site's been in existence long, or if you've been working on your SEO for some time, the site will slowly keep moving higher until it finds its natural position. So it also takes time. So I call this the old days, but I guess it hasn't been that long. People just used to put keywords in the meta tags in their code. In the top of your website, it's not visible, but there's some key elements that are very important, like the title of your web page. Some people don't put enough effort or think about their title too much. In fact, I've seen people have their title of their web page as home or just web page or something like that, and then that is not very helpful for SEO. You should have a fairly descriptive title. It's not too long, and you want that title is also important because when someone bookmarks your site, that's what they're going to see is whatever's in that title. So title is one of the key things for search engine. Now, like I said, in the old days, you have these invisible fields called meta tag fields. You used to have a description and keyword. Those used to be really important, but Google just doesn't really look at those very much anymore. So those have become history and not very relevant anymore.
Is title different from your actual website?
Go ahead.
Is title different than your actual website?
The website title is super important. Super important. So
what's the difference between the website title and the website, or is it just one and the same?
Each page in a website has a title. So those titles should be descriptive as to what that page has done, and the main page of the website has a good description with hopefully some important keywords in there or keyword phrases that the search engine, somebody would type into Google to find your site. That would be ideal. Then there's a lot of new criteria that Google's using, like how fast your page loads. So if your page loads real slow, then that's going to be really bad for the search engine for SEO. So there's one. Some people put images on their website that are not optimized. What does that mean? That means the image is huge, so it slows down the website when it loads, which will affect your SEO and your search engine placement negatively. So you want a website that loads fairly fast, and you want to optimize your images. In other words, if your image is a certain size, don't just put a huge image in there and resize it with the HTML. You have to make sure you resize it and make a light image so it loads fast. So you want to make an image so the file size is small. Very, very important. Then another important thing is now, instead of the keyword stuffing, you need content that has the keyword phrases. So you have to have these keyword phrases in your content, and they should make sense. You can't just repeat a bunch of content in there. So it has to be naturally in there. You can't just repeat keywords in your inside of a page. And these keywords, the phrases, there's some measurements that you can do for the keywords. They call it keyword density. So you have to have this keyword in your content, but it has to be a little bit high, but not too much. So then there's keyword density. So let's say this keyword is in a page, and you only have a few sentences in there. Then the keyword density is going to be very high, and that's not good for the search engine. You want the keyword density. I don't have the exact number, but anywhere like 4%, 5% keyword density in content. And when you're doing keywords and phrases, you don't want to put a lot of keywords and phrases in there. You have to limit the number, because if you have too many, it kind of dilutes the other keyword phrase. It dilutes everything. So you want to pick some good keywords and keyword phrases, but don't overdo it. So.
But how would somebody know?
Yeah, go ahead.
If, say, for example, if somebody is doing it on their own, how would they know? Or do you suggest that they would go to
there are some tools on the internet. You can look for measuring keyword density. They'll measure the keyword density. You put in the phrases, and then they'll measure the density of those keywords in your website or in your website page. So those are very good tools. There's a bunch of them out there.
You're talking a foreign language to me.
I'm sorry?
I'm a novice with this. I'm just getting started. So
Uh-huh.
I don't know anything. So would it be recommended that I would go search out somebody such as yourself that would be able to help me with what you're just talking about instead of them?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. That's one of the services we provide.
Okay.
And then, if now you got to look at the competition. The first thing someone would like to do if they're doing SEO is what they want to do is you get a list of keywords and keyword phrases that you want to rank high in the search engine. Maybe your list is too big, and you got to whittle it down to the most important keywords and phrases. Then once you have a list that's not too big, maybe 10, 12 keyword phrases, then you want to go on the search engine and you want to research what sites are popping up with those keyword phrases, and you see what the competition's like. The more common product you have on your website, or the more common information, you're going to have lots of competition. The more unique your product is, the better and the easier it is to do the SEO. Like if you have a unique product, then you might run into another problem. Well, because it's so unique, there's not an easy way to describe it, so people would be looking for that type of thing. So, but I do know that the more unique product that you have, the easier it is to rank higher in the search engine. Another thing that you can use, for example, if your business is a local business, then you want to target to geographical areas locally. For example, if you're in Los Angeles, you might want to target Los Angeles, Beverly Hills, Malibu, Santa Monica, things like that. So let's say you're a pastry chef and you make birthday cakes. Somebody would say birthday cakes, Santa Monica or something, and then your business would pop up because you're targeting to that area of Santa Monica and you have birthday cakes. So that's another way to rank higher, is to have a target area that you're marketing to in the SEO.
Now what if you're an international company?
I want to delve into some details for somebody that might be a little more technical, but go ahead. You have any questions?
Yeah. What if it's the company is international? What would be the difference? The more international or national the company is, of course, the more competition you're going to have. I did some SEO work for a nonprofit job listing organization called the Nonprofit Network.org. That one was extremely difficult to do the SEO because there was competition out there for many, many years, and the site was hacked and put in negative, what I call hacker links. They when I first took over this site, it had suffered negatively because the hacker had put in a bunch of links to hacker sites. So therefore, Google ranked that site low, and it took years to get it back up so that it would rank, so we could get some ranking. So that's another problem. If your site gets hacked or something, and they put links in your site and you don't clean it quickly, you will get negative to Google, and they call that black hat SEO, which is Google really penalizes you if they think you're doing what's called black hat SEO. They have white hat SEO and black hat SEO, they call it. So those are yeah. It's called black hat. There's a lot of I call them dirty tricks to do SEO. Like sometimes you'll put keywords in, but you don't want them to disrupt the flow of the content. So let's say the background of your site is white, and you put in a keyword and you make the color of the text white, so it's basically invisible. The text, so you put it an off-white, so the text is invisible, but it's in the content. So they call that, Google has gotten better at catching that black hat SEO, so that you could stuff a bunch of keywords in there that no one saw, and you would rank high. But that, if Google catches you doing that black hat SEO, then they'll rank you low, and it'll be difficult to get back up to a good rating once they rank you negatively. Go ahead. How does somebody know? How can they protect themselves from somebody hacking? Because a lot of that is going on right now, and it's scary. It's scary. How can they protect themselves?
It's difficult because sometimes programmers do not program. I call it programming sloppily. They program sloppy, and then hackers are able to penetrate the site using different URLs, because let's say on the URL gets read by the database, the program reads the URL, processes it to get information in the database. Well, that URL, what's the URL? Is the address on the page. So it takes that information and goes in the database. But then the database, the hacker crafts some database code, and they're able to penetrate your database and get information or insert links in your database, and they're able to put these links all over your website. So how do you protect yourself from that? Well, you have to make sure you have a good programmer when you do a sophisticated site that uses database, and you also have to have a technical person available to you if your site gets hacked, so they clean it quickly. So this is one of my specialties, is cleaning up hacked sites. So I could be a resource for someone that might need that if their sites ever get hacked.
Excellent.
Yeah. And then the second thing is, you have a lot of the WordPress sites. If you do not update them frequently or when they're supposed to be updated, they get hacked. So because, WordPress is something that's been out there, and then people figure out how to hack it, and WordPress sends updates. And if you don't do those updates on time, then the hacker eventually finds your site and hacks it. So it's very important that if you have a WordPress site, that you do your updates. Your plugin updates, your theme updates, and your WordPress updates. It's super important because there's a lot of WordPress websites out there. They're the ones that they get hacked. All of these content management system sites usually get hacked if you don't do the updates when you're in a timely manner.
And this is why.
Do you have any more questions?
Computer software.
Yeah.
This is why it's best to have a software computer expert on their team, such as yourself, that would keep them.
Yeah, you should always have a resource. Because if your site ever gets hacked, you've got to clean it in a timely manner. So you should always have a resource available. And also, it's embarrassing if someone goes to your site and it's hacked, and they might put pictures that are not good for your site. I mean, it could embarrass your company.
Of course.
And lots of, the more important your site is, the more a hacker might want to attack your site, or attack your site as a stepping stone to hack other sites. That's usually what they do, is attack your site so that they can put links in there and drive people to your site with those links so they can hack more sites. And then they're able to hide themselves, and then they can hack other sites. I mean, people can any site can get hacked. I mean, no one is safe. You have to be very careful, and you have to do your best for all your security. But if someone really wants to hack your site, there's always some vulnerability that they can exploit to get in your site. I mean, they even hacked I remember they hacked the CIA's website. That was funny. So
right.
And recently they say the Chinese and Russians have been hacking government sites. So there's the reason they're able to hack sites is
don't work
because people don't use good passwords. Sometimes they use a weak password. They're able to hack sites. They're able to hack a user's computer and use that to as a stepping stone to hack the user's website.
Well, can you do me a favor? I'm
sometimes,
really
like on
about the word
websites, sometimes when you have a lot of websites on one server, they'll hack one site and use that to try to hack other sites on the same server. So security is super important.
Confused about the word.
I have to say that, I'm really good at security. I've been doing it for years, and I haven't had a security breach for a long time. When I see there's some attempts, I try to block them right away. And you do this with firewalls and making sure you do all your updates. You try to do all their updates on their content management systems such as WordPress and the other ones out there, Magento, different shopping programs.
I am
So
confused
I didn't get
with the word
a chance
hack.
to talk about my experiences. Some people would say, "Well, who is this guy talking? You know, I don't know anything about him." So you kind of mentioned that I was an internet provider, but I have a degree in computer science, and I got this degree in 1982. I've been in this business for a very long time, and I originally started as a software developer, working in the defense industry, like a lot of young programmers. That's usually their first job. I worked for Hughes Aircraft. I worked for a small company in Santa Monica, Technology Service Corporation. I worked for another company called Lear Astronics. It's been bought out by another company called Bay Systems. But in my experience, I used to do digital communication systems for the military. Used to do fly-by-wire systems. The airplanes now are computerized, and a lot of the controls are all done with computers. So a lot of the program that I worked on was for aircraft to control flaps and voice. You know, like if you're flying too high, then it has a voice system that will say stall, or if you're flying too low, it'll say pull up. And there's just a lot of voice-activated things that would tell a pilot. You know, this software would control flaps, control landing gear, control all different kind of things. Also a radar.
Mario, can I interrupt you for a moment? I believe
Sure,
we're
go
at
ahead.
the bottom of the hour. And Scotty, is it time to take a station break?
No, since we had a little rough start, please just push through because you don't have much time. So
Okay.
please continue.
Gotcha. We got to be
We'll
off
just
at,
let them know they're listening to.
Because there's.
I'm sorry. We'll just let them know
There's
that they're
another
listening
show.
to Andrea James, today's entrepreneur on the Black Talk Radio Network. Please continue.
And the call-in number would
Yes.
be 641-715-3660, and the PIN is 549032 pound, and you hit *6 and 1 if you want to make an on-air comment or you have a question. Please continue, Mario. I'm sitting on the edge of my seat wanting to know more.
Oh, that would be great to get a question. So I want everyone to know that I have this experience in computers. I started a internet access business in 1996 where we were selling dial-up. And
AztecaNet.
Right, AztecaNet. And then about
right.
3 or 4 years later, 5 years, I met a gentleman. He has a PhD in education now, but he's also a scientist. His name was Michael Beatty, and he had a business called SuccessNet. And he was an African American working in the African American community. I was Latino working in the Latino community. And we joined together and ran our businesses from the same office and pooled our resources. And we worked together for almost 15 years about. And then the dial-up business died. We switched to DSL. And now the DSL business is dying. So we're pretty much now focusing only on software development and websites. And Mr. Beatty is, he's moved on and working in education now, working with minority students in the Los Angeles area. But during this time, about 17 years ago, I used to I helped develop the Steve Harvey website, and Steve Harvey was my client for 15 years. And I developed. Wow. He used to have this hoodie awards, and I developed some online software for nominating the hoodie awards and voting for the hoodie awards online, because I think it used to be call in, and then they changed it to internet, and then he went nationwide, and I developed some software to send out his newsletter, Used to send out like 1 million emails every week with some software I developed. But, you know, Steve Harvey, after 15 years, he's so big now, and he has his own. He moved to Atlanta years ago, and I'm still able to hang on to some of the business, but he has his own IT group, and I eventually lost. I lost all the business with him because, you know, he's big. He's got his own software people, but that was a big client of mine for 15 years, and I was very happy that I was able to work with him for all those years. So
wow,
that's basically
right
my experience in a nutshell. I would, if time permits, or unless there's no questions, I could go into even more details of search engine optimization.
Oh, please do. Please do. Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Well,
So,
in order for you to switch from DSL to what you're doing now, was it hard?
well, actually, no, because what I'm doing now, I've been doing all along anyway. Been doing websites even from the dial-up days. So it really wasn't a switch. It was something we were doing
about websites
in parallel with the internet access. Yes. So it's not a switch. It's just over the years, the internet access business, the rules in the business are not favorable to small companies. Consequently, all internet access companies, the independent ones, are pretty much shutting down. Eventually, we will have maybe 4 or 5, you know, most people, like in Los Angeles, really have only they have two choices for internet. They have AT&T or Verizon, or they have a cable company. So the internet access choices, due to government rules, have completely shut down competition.
I have a question for you, Mario.
Yes, go ahead.
The question is pertaining to internet access or ISP providers. You mentioned AT&T. I live here in North Carolina, where Time Warner is based, and we just heard about this proposed merger or takeover of Time Warner by AT&T, and people are saying that this would then become the world's largest telecommunications company. What do you think what impact do you think that might have on internet access prices in the industry in general for little guys like you?
Well, for guys like me, we are gonna be getting out of the business because there's no money in it for us. Because of the way the rules are set up, we will be completely out of this business completely in a few months. But you mentioned something extremely important, and you know, AT&T, by buying Time Warner, Time Warner is the competition in Los Angeles for AT&T, and they have been able to keep the prices down because of this competition. Now, in San Diego, where my parents live, there is no Time Warner. They have Charter Communications. Charters, their prices are much higher than Time Warner, and consequently, my father pays $20 to $30 more per month than I pay here in Los Angeles. So, what's going to happen when Time Warner gets bought if they get bought by AT&T? Of course, there'll be less competition, and AT&T will raise their prices. That's a given. That's the whole reason they want to buy Time Warner, so that they have less competition and they can raise their prices. That is extremely bad for the public. We do not want. Years ago, I remember they broke up AT&T and made all these they call baby bells, and now AT&T is back at it again. They're big again. They're swallowing up competition. They're contributing to both political parties, and they're able to get these rules that basically eliminate competition. So these huge companies are extremely bad for the country and for the citizens, because we're going to be facing higher prices. That's my opinion.
So it sounds like they're monopolizing.
Exactly. That's exactly what they're trying to do. That's what exactly any business would do, is try to monopolize the market so so they can increase prices. The less competition, they can charge whatever they want.
Is there any way that they could be stopped?
Only the government can stop that by saying that they don't approve that merger.
We know Bernie Sanders has been public in opposing it. He's been very public.
Well,
yeah.
Bernie Sanders, you're talking to a big supporter of Bernie Sanders. So, to me, he's what we need. I mean, we need to break up those banks. You know, we just had something. You know, Wells Fargo was basically cheating all their clients, and they're getting away with it. There was no criminal prosecution. Only the small people lost their jobs. So the big guys always get away with it. And this merger, to me, I mean, everyone out there that's listening should be contacting their politicians and telling them to work against that merger. We don't want that merger. That'll be bad for that will definitely increase everyone's internet access cost.
We have a
no question
caller.
About it.
We have a caller. Andrea, should I take the call?
Please go ahead. Somebody text me. They have a question.
Okay. All right. Area code 818. You're on Today's Entrepreneur with Andrea James. Go ahead with your question or comment.
And I believe that's Rakeem with Black Trade Lines.
Yes. Yeah.
Good morning. Good morning.
Hello.
Welcome.
Good morning, family. Yeah. Thank you for the show. Also, a shout out to your guest this morning. I have a question.
Oh, good morning.
Yes. I have a question about the merger between pretty much AT&T becoming the sole monopoly when it comes to telecom right now. What do you think the masses have to do apart from lobbying, with the politicians and all that? What is there any other source of a piece of technology that people can use in order to get on the internet? Any alternatives?
Well, the alternatives that have not worked very well and not been very successful are, there was a wireless technology out there. There was some companies trying to do wireless, but they have not been very successful, and people have complained that they haven't been, the connections were not were not steady all the time, that they were losing connectivity. So the best connections to the home are going to be through the telephone line, like AT&T, their fiber, and the cable company. Right now, there's only 2 connections to a home. And the DSL companies, like in Los Angeles, we're restricted to sell DSL to homes because people have to have a home phone number. And AT&T makes the consumer have a home phone to have DSL. Well, most people now are not even they're getting rid of their home phones, and they're just using cellular phones. So that restriction is causing us to lose so many customers that business is not feasible anymore. So consequently, there's only going to be 2 connections to your home: your cable company and your telephone company. Now, if AT&T buys the cable company, such as Time Warner, you have 1 connection to your home, and you're going to be paying whatever they say. And let's think about how businesses work. Because I used to work at I was an IT department at a company that managed apartments. They had thousands of apartments. So I would watch the executive. So what he would do is say, all right, I'm raising the rent. So he raised the rent and see how many people moved out. If not that many people moved out, he'd raise the rents again. Until too many people moved out, then they would hold the rent. And then he would offer incentives for people to move in. It was just, people were moving in and out of these apartments, and he's just playing with numbers, seeing how how he can maximize his profits, which was hurting these people's lives because they kept raising the rents a lot and forcing them to move out of their apartment and disrupting their lives. So this is a way. So if AT&T is the only company that's providing internet access to your home, they're going to increase the prices until people say, I can't afford the internet, or I'm just going to go to some free Wi-Fi spot and use that. And when they see that the price is so high that they can't, or they'll offer deals, teaser rates for a year, and then they'll jack up the price $20, $30 after a year. That's the way they historically been operating.
Okay. Quick question. What about players like Google and some other companies that are trying to provide?
Right now, Google was trying to offer the Wi-Fi, but other companies have tried that Wi-Fi and it hasn't been successful. So unless Google can, or someone can come with an alternative at this point, some cities are offering free Wi-Fi in the entire city. That's a great thing, because that, and of course AT&T is going to lobby against it, or because they want to sell to the consumers. They don't want people to have free Wi-Fi in the city. I mean, there's a lot of cities that have free Wi-Fi, but unfortunately, that Wi-Fi, the connectivity, the speed hasn't been too good. So people still go and buy internet for their home. They don't want to use the free Wi-Fi because the connection is not all that great. But if there's countries like Korea that offer free internet for every home in the country. That's why Korea has been able to increase their computer technology, because the government decided years ago to give free internet to everyone's house, and it's very high speed. It's all fiber connections going in each house.
Well, Rakeem, I want to thank you for calling in, and we have less than 10 minutes left to go. And I thank you for the wonderful, questions that you asked this morning. I'm sure somebody on our worldwide viewing audience is going to learn a lot from this today. And Mario, I want to make sure that you give out your contact information. How can people reach you?
Yes.
Contact number.
My website is Azteca.net, which is spelled A like Alpha, Z like Zebra, T like Tango, E like Echo, C like Charlie, A like Alpha.net. And my email is Mario@Azteca.net. My phone number is 310-677-8301. If anyone would like SEO services or some kind of technical support for their website if they get hacked, or if they need a website. I've been doing a lot of websites for entertainers lately, and my specialty is database websites, so I love to do these database websites. And
what do you consider a database website, real quick?
A database website or just a website?
Mm-hmm. No, database.
Oh, database. Well, I just did this. The nonprofit network is a database website. So what that does is people list their jobs there. So when people fill out a form, put in their job, and that job goes in a database. And people are looking for jobs. You read the database and display the job information on a website. That would be a database website.
WordPress is also used as a database. Most content management systems, Joomla,
right,
WordPress, so on.
WordPress stores the content in a database and then feeds the content out from the database. So that also is a database system, content management system. So a lot of the things that I do are custom. Something there's no available software out there. Well, something needs to be done.
So again,
One more thing
someone
I
can
forgot
come
to mention
you
about
for
SEO
what services?
is that, I'm sorry?
Go ahead, Mario.
What? Go ahead.
Yeah, one thing that is good about WordPress is that when you do a website in WordPress, it's mobile friendly. It works good on cell phones, usually, if you stick to the WordPress designs. And making your website mobile friendly is very important for search engine optimization also, because Google likes websites now that are mobile friendly. So that's another important criteria in SEO, is that your website be mobile friendly and then load quickly. Those are two really good things. Okay. Did you have a question?
5 minutes left.
Oh.
I want to know, in the future, do you think that you'll be switching again, say, for example, if AT&T, would that affect your business? Will AT&T, if they come in as a conglomerate, will they affect your business, such as changing over from DSL many years ago to what you're doing now?
No, I don't think they'll affect my website business at all, no. As far as the DSL business, we have already made the decision to exit that business in January.
Yeah,
so
right. You had to switch real
after 20 years, we're exiting that business. But I feel kind of sad. But for the last 2 years, I've been losing money on that business. But I have so many loyal customers still. I felt bad to let them go. But the number of customers I have, it keeps dwindling, because people don't want home phones anymore. And and then there's other rules out there. For example, if someone gets UVerse fiber, then they can't go back to DSL anymore. So a lot of people didn't realize that. So they switched to fiber, and then they said, I want DSL because AT&T raised my rate $20 or $30 this year. I said, I'm sorry, it's too late. You went to fiber. AT&T did not allow them to come back. These are the kind of rules that AT&T was able to lobby the government in California, and nobody has changed. Nobody has encouraged competition. In fact, AT&T gives so much money to each party that they can basically write their own rules. And most of the most damaging rules were put in place under Bush. And it was my hope that when Obama came in that he would change those rules and, encourage competition again, but that never happened. The rules that were put in place by Bush have stayed, and nothing has changed. So
we're at the point where
consequently,
we have comments.
We are going to exit that business, and many companies have exited already.
Okay, we're at the
I'm sorry,
top
go
of the
ahead.
hour. You have a minute. We're at the top of the hour. You have a minute for final comments, and I have a minute for final comments today. And I thank you so much for being my fabulous guest. I've learned a lot. And there's even so much more.
I actually enjoyed myself this morning.
Thank you.
I enjoyed myself with this program, and I thank you for inviting me to your program, Andrea. I really enjoyed it.
I thank you so much, and this is one of the things that I do. I reach back to people that I've already started a relationship with, done business with already, and it's similar to us just having a phone call. You just have some other people listening in. So I have about a minute to go. I thank you very much, Mario, with AztecaNet.net. For those who want to reach out to him, and I just want to say today is a brand new day.
Yeah, just I think my phone number might be better. It's 310-677-8301.
Excellent. Today, in closing, I would just like to say thank you for those that are listening near and far, whether you're locally or international around the world. But this is a time for us to break the chains of poverty and create bonds of prosperity. In Jesus Christ's name. Thank you. Thank you, everyone, for listening.
You have been listening to Black Talk Radio Network. Stay with us, folks, as we get ready to transition to our next program, Putting Down the Clean Glass. Today's date is November the 7th, 2016.